So we're supposed to loosen the master cylinder lid, so when we pry the brake pads back, there's room for the fluid to go in. So you just loosen these and pop it up a little bit, and then make sure you got a rag around it so that if it does overflow or whatever, it goes on the rag. Master cylinder. Right, 2001 Electra Glide Ultra Classic. This would be the first time I've changed brake pads on this thing. I've done it a lot on cars, but usually when I get service done, if the brake pads need doing, I just have them do it while they're at it on the major service intervals. But I'm gonna do this one myself. That's the part number the Harley guys gave me. See if that's right. One of these things is not like the other, so you got to pay attention when you take the brake pads out. Make sure you get the right ones. There's 2 pins down here, right in this area, that are 1/4 inch 12 point, and then 2 bolts here that are 10 millimeter 12 point. I've seen people take the caliper off without loosening the 1/4 inch pins that hold the pads in. But I choose to loosen the pins before I take the caliper off, so you're good. I'm not going to take them all the way out, just loosen. Quarter inch, 12 point, 10 millimeter, 12 point. Make sure it's a 12 point, or you will round off your bolts. This top bolt is the longer one. The bottom is shorter. You'll figure it out if you do it wrong. And one way to get the pads spread out that I've seen is just rock it before you take it off. It makes it easier to pull off without whacking it on your paint. And there's an anti-rattle clip in here. We'll see if that comes into play. It's the bottom one. Feel the pins coming loose, or the pads coming loose. I'm gonna grab this one with vice grips, pull it out. There we go. All right, so pulling these pads out, the one closest to the bike is that one. And that one is the one closest to the street. spreading these clips out, or the pads out. Get the long one in there first, and then again, the only fasteners you take off are these two right here to loosen the caliper, and these two right here, which are the pins for the brake pads. The one in the middle, the bigger one, and the one on the bottom by the banjo fitting. No touchy. Snug these down first. And I will torque them to spec in a minute. Now for the other side, left side. So for this one, looks like the one closest to the street is worn thinner, and the one closest to the inside of the bike is thicker. Very strange. Spread these out just a little bit. Take these pins out the rest of the way. Again, paying attention to which one comes out which. This one with the one tab, the square tab, is closest to the street, or close to the bike. And the one with the two smaller tabs, closest to the street. All right, I had to double check myself, make sure I got the right shoe on the right side, and I did, but I redid it, and I polished up the bolts that go into the pads. They were a little bit rusty, so just want to make sure. That's better. Just like with the car, you never want to try to force anything. I felt like I was trying to force it, so 10 Mike. Snug on top, snug on the bottom. Jimbo torque. I'll get the torque wrench out later. Snug these pins back there too. So that's pretty much it. If I can do this right. Just to show you how easy it is. These two 1/4 inch 12-point pins that they help line up and guide the brake pads. And these two right here basically hold the caliper onto the fork lower. You don't want to touch anything else. You don't want to touch this one by the banjo bolt, the banjo fitting. You don't want to touch that one either. That's the brake bleeder right there. You don't need that because you haven't cracked open the system. Basically just, you can loosen these first and then take these off. Make sure you use a 10 millimeter 12 point for this one and a 1/4 inch 12 point for this one. Don't try to cheat and use a regular socket or a star or anything like that. It's got to be a 12 point. So just go in order. There's several other good videos on YouTube that kind of explain how to do it, but I wanted to do it my way. So if that helps, I hope it's helpful.